It's another video, and well, I'm cracking on with car. For starters, I've been busy drilling spot welds out, as you do when doing restoration stuff, and I tell you what, it's boiling today. So yeah, it was about 28 degrees here. So this I have removed. This is for the towing eye for the rear of the car. Now I was going to just cut through this, but then I thought, you know what, no, I'll put it to good use, and if I need it in one piece. So we're going to keep that, because just in case inside on this one it does look a bit crap, as you can probably see there. So I've taken it off, so this should now well, not perfect just yet because there's a few things in the way, but let's put it on the floor. I'll show you now. So here's boot, and I've been chipping away at this sound deadening on the side because that panel just kind of intrudes. You can probably see where it's been digging in there, so I need to hammer that out so that it fits nice and flush. It fits really good as well already, but to get the proper fitment so that I can cut through, because I think what we're going to do is fit it in and then cut through both panels at the same time, so that we've got a flush cut, so to say. So cut out the rot whilst cutting out the good metal and then fitting that in, and that should leave us with a 1mm gap as well, so that we can slot it in and clamp it, and then fill in the gap with a weld. That means we'll get good penetration, and means that we'll be able to grind it down nice and flush without losing the strength of the weld. So the sun is setting, and tools are still out and everything, but good news, it's been about 20 minutes since I did the last recording. I've just cut out all that bit of bitumen bloody sounded, and it's horrible stuff. It's a bloody nightmare. Really what I need to get is some dry ice and just bloody whack the whole lot off, because it just leaves all residue behind and it just gums up the grinder and stuff. It's a bit of a mess, but all this will get painted, you know. Yeah, that'll be whenever. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. So boot floor, tidied it all up, new boot floor, ready to go in. I just need to line this up. There we go. That fits much better now that the sound deadening's out. Squash it down into place. But yeah, that fits really well. Well, of course it will. It's a genuine part. So there we go. That is in. So probably now, as I stated earlier, like, probably just going to cut it round, and that should just give us a perfect size, you know. But the question is, where do we cut from? Because this area here is where the toe eye is, and I don't want to start pissing around with that. So I'm kind of like, do I leave it and cut round it, or do I just cut it out but leave the area at the back and then chop that bit where the hook connects to, and just weld that in, because as I say, it is rusty there. So I don't know, we'll have a think. I'll have a think overnight and see what we can do. Tomorrow we should hopefully have a plan of action, but it's nice to see that in without that being in the way, because yeah. So yeah, it's not too bad, that, is it? I was contemplating on whether just cutting out the middle bit, but I was like thinking, these bungs here, they're all rotten around there as well. Well, not rotten, but just surface corrosion, and I just want to eliminate as much rust as I can from this car. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Right, so it's day 2. I've not really been recording because I've just been setting up the welder. That's not cut out yet. So if anyone didn't know, there was a small little hole here on this panel. There was a bit of a rust hole, only a little one. So what I've decided to do, is plate it to shape, so it's still got the ribbed effect. So I've just had a drink of water. It's absolutely boiling. There's a little hole there that I've just blown through because the metal was still quite thin there. So we're going to attempt to repair that by just building the weld up and then grinding it down. And once I've done that, then I'll fill it in with weld on the inside so we get some of that strength back. But yeah, for now, I mean, it's not too bad. It's the first welds that I've been doing. Started out really shit because the settings weren't right. The gas wasn't quite right either. So we're getting a bit of pigeon poo. Right, so it's the end of day 2. I haven't done much. I've only just done that. That is absolutely shocking. I'm not happy with it at all. I think the only thing I can do with that is grind it all down. The issue I had was this was sandblasted and the metal around here was weakened because it was rusty, so it's thinned out the metal. So I go to weld it, it was burned straight through. So what I've had to do is on the back side build up the welds and then weld into the weld like thing that I've done, if that makes sense. So really I think what I could do is maybe just grind it down with a belt sander. If I see any pinholes, just fill them in very slightly, just work at it until it's all sorted, put a load of seam sealer around it and I've done with it. You're not really going to see much of that anyway. It just looks a bit crap. Not the best start, but there we go. And you're probably wondering what all these lines are. This is just my thinking where to cut, because there's the 2i. Don't want to mess around with that. So this line here is probably the maximum where I can cut. So I'm going to cut along here up to there, up there, round that grommet, round here, and all round there, because I've tested these grommets out and they're a bit thin on the metal, so it'll just blow through. And if these ones go through, then I can just plate them up as well if need be. It's all ideas really at this stage. Okie dokie, I haven't really been doing a lot of filming. I've just been doing the welding and stuff, and weather been so hot, I haven't really done much. But it's nearly in. Got this side to do yet. This side's overlapping, so what I've done is I've just tacked it in place, and then I'm just going to cut along the line and then push it up against this panel and butt it in. Right then, so I've been working on the car for a couple of days now, and I'm glad to say that inside is all done now, all welded. And yeah, you know what, right, to say it's my first ever attempt at welding a car, I'm pretty chuffed with it. It's all seam sealed. It's not perfect because I'm not a body shop guy, or you know, I'm not in that sort of field. But yeah, I've welded it all up. It's all welded. I've seam sealed it. I could have done a bit, you know what, right? I was reading up about seam sealer and stuff, and right after I dobbed it on, right, I thought to myself, you know what? I could have used some masking tape just to make it a bit neater, but it doesn't really matter, does it? So yeah, that's all gobbed on there, and then I let that set. And then I painted it with, well, for starters, what I did was before I seam sealed it, I did a bit of Hydrate 80 rust converter sort of stuff from Built Hamber, and then a coat of Electrox, and then I just seam sealed it, and then used some grey primer because I'm going to save the epoxy for underneath, because because that's where most of the things will be getting hit up and you know, chipping the paint. But there will be also stone chip on there, so yeah, double protection. But yeah, I'm pretty chuffed with that, really. It's not too bad. I've just put the grommets in just to see what it looks like. That's it, like that there. I'm going to sort all this out, don't worry. All this will be getting stripped back and painted as well. But yeah, all this is done. If I go underneath, you might be able to just, because bloody welds in the way. That's it from underneath. So yeah, come around the other side. I've taken the exhaust off and also removed sections of the anti-roll bar. But yeah, that's the other side as well. It's not pretty, but when you grind it down, I tell you what, it actually came out pretty well. I was quite surprised. It's nice and solid, so there we go. I'm dead chuffed with that. So tomorrow, I think what we need to do is, you know what, I'll even record it tomorrow. I need to fit this back on. That just goes on up there. Plug weld that, and then just do a seam along there. Because that's for the toe eye. So that's to go on, and then we'll seam seal that underneath, and then well, yeah, zinc it, epoxy it, you get the gist. But yeah, there we go. I'm really chuffed with that. But yeah, I do apologise for not doing any welding, well, in the actual video. When I get the sills done, I think because it was my first job, I wanted to concentrate on getting the technique right, getting to learn the welder first, getting everything together, you know, that sort of thing. But now that I've kind of got there with it, I'm a lot more used to using the welder now. And yeah, so the sill will be next, and then the sill on that side will be next, and then the floor pans at the front, and then I'll probably do the arch last, because that's probably going to be the most difficult task alongside this. This was pretty difficult because I've butted it in rather than lapping it. So to butt it, I needed that perfect gap around the whole perimeter of the panel, and it was about 1 mil all the way around. So it took me a good few hours to get that lined up properly, and you know, so that I was happy with it. And then just tacked it in place, and then just went round and welded it all in. So yeah, there we go, that's that done. So in the next video we'll be welding that, and I'll go over what I've done in the meantime with this as well. So that'll be in the next video. It's all a bit confusing at the minute, I do apologise, but we'll get there. We'll be getting back on track soon, hopefully, with this. So yeah, so cheers for watching today's video regarding the welding on the boot floor. Next video, as I say, will be recapping over this underneath, and also sorting out the sill. So cheers for watching, guys, and I'll see you in another video.